The Washington Wizards trade forward Deni Avdija to the Portland Trail Blazers for Malcolm Brogdon.
I like Deni Avdija. I think he's a success story in terms of, this team has drafted really poorly, this organization, over the years. There's a lot of misses.
You know how the NBA loves labels? 3&D, glue guy, future star. Deni Avdija got slapped with the first one fast. Stand in the corner, hit the occasional three.
He wants that last shot, maybe. One-on-one on Edwards. He lines up a triple. Fires and scores!
Guard the other team's best player. Do not, under any circumstance, touch the offense. Washington tried to turn him into a role player. Portland hit the turbo button. Right now, as of this season, Deni Avdija is not only the best player on the Blazers, he is one of the most aggressive offensive engines in the entire league. Built his shot. He rewired how he attacks. He literally changed his basketball identity. And somewhere along the way, he quietly became the greatest Israeli player in NBA history. So let's walk through how a hesitant 3&D wing turned into a 26-a-night point forward who leads the league in drives. And stay locked in because around the middle of this breakdown, we hit a twist that changes how you look at every failed lottery pick in the league. Because Deni is not just a breakout, he's a blueprint. Corner duty and an identity crisis. If you only watch Deni's first few seasons with the Wizards, you would never guess what he's doing in Portland right now. In Washington, his job description was simple. Spot up, space the floor, defend, move the ball. That's it.
Looks right, back left again. Jackson Davis intercepted. Avdija into the lane, runs it right to the rack.
He was used like a stationary accessory around other creators. He would bring the ball up in transition sometimes, make a nice read here and there, but once they got into the half court, go to the corner, wait, hope someone notices you. The problem is, that's the exact opposite of how he played before the NBA. He came into the league as a big wing who loved having the ball, push in transition, make reads, operate in pick and roll. Instead, he turned into a "if I miss 2 shots, I'm getting benched" guy. You could see the confidence issues in real time. He would miss one open three, and the next possession, he would pass up the same shot. He would commit a turnover and suddenly he looked afraid to initiate anything. Coaches talk all the time about playing free. Deni was playing like there's a trap door under his feet. And then you add in the mechanics. Flat jumper, low arc, inconsistent release. Defenders knew it. They would sag off, clog the lane, and dare him to shoot. That killed his best skill, which was getting downhill and making plays on the move. The numbers back it up. At one point, he was sitting around 8 points per game, a little over 5 rebounds, shooting under 32% from 3.
Nothing wrong. A lot of that was in transition. 4-3, Deni Avdija. Oh, and a 4-point play.
Respectable role player stuff, not star stuff, not future #1 option stuff. For 3 full years, you could look at his box score and think, okay, nice piece. What you could not see was what was coming next. The summer that flipped everything. The turning point started before Portland. It did not start with a trade, it started in a gym. Summer 2023. He linked up with Drew Hanlon and basically stripped his jumper down to the studs. Higher release, more arc, cleaner balance, repeatable form. Nothing glamorous, all boring, all necessary. Once the mechanics started clicking, 2 things changed. First, defenders no longer treated him like a non-shooter. Closeouts got harder. Space opened up. Second, his mindset shifted. For the first time in his NBA career, he stopped playing like a guy begging for permission to shoot. He stopped settling. He attacked.
Kuzma, body, great pass to Deni Avdija.
In 2023-24, his drives per game spiked from single digits into the teens, around 13 or so a night. And this wasn't just mindless barreling into the lane. His finishing took a massive leap too. The same player who once struggled to convert at the rim suddenly climbed into the mid-70s at the basket, somewhere around that 73% mark. That's elite territory. You don't hit that number by accident. You hit it because you're picking your angles, using your size, and making people foul you or give up layups. Washington got a taste of this version of Deni. The confidence, the rim pressure, the physicality, but they still didn't build fully around it. Portland did. The trade to Portland. Here, this is your team now. When Deni landed in Portland, something happened that almost never happens to former role players. The Blazers gave him the ball. Not as a cute experiment, not as a second unit option, he became their point forward, their primary creator, their first option. And the numbers in 2025-26 are loud, around 26.2 points per game. That puts him in the neighborhood of guys like Jalen Brunson and Cade Cunningham. This is not, oh cool, he's averaging 18 now. This is real star volume. But the way he's doing it is what makes it special. He leads the entire league in drives to the basket.
He stumbles to the floor, the ball is loose. Kamara with it, bounces ahead to Deni. He rolls right to the cup for the right.
Roughly 19.5 per game. That's more than Shea, more than Luka, more than all the guards who are supposed to live in the paint. He's not spamming pull-up threes. He's not hunting fadeaways. He's going straight at people. Body to chest, shoulder to ribs, left hand, right hand, it doesn't matter. And defenses are paying for it. He's getting to the line nearly 10 times a night, sitting top 5 in free throw attempts per game. That's superstar whistle territory. His scoring has evolved from maybe he can space the floor to we literally cannot stay in front of him for 48 minutes. And remember that old scouting report that said he didn't trust his left hand? Now that left hand is a weapon. He drives left, finishes left, draws fouls going left. Teams can't load up on one side of the floor anymore. They can't cheat. They can't funnel him into a predictable lane. That alone is worth a few points a game. And here's the craziest part. He's doing all this while still playing on a contract that looks like something out of a different era. 4 years, $55 million. That's rotation player money, not franchise engine money. For what he's giving Portland, that deal might be one of the best values in the league. He's playing like a max guy. He's getting paid like a mid-level starter. That cap flexibility is going to matter a lot when the Blazers start adding pieces around them. The twist. This isn't just a breakout. It's a rebuild cheat code. Here's where the whole story flips. This is not only a good for Deni situation. This is a warning for every rebuilding team in the league. Because for 3 years in Washington, the narrative was simple. Nice role player, energy guy, develop the jumper, maybe he becomes a solid third or fourth option. He was tagged, filed, sorted. Teams do this all the time. They look at early stats, they look at how a guy fits next to a star, then they decide what he is long before he shows what he can become. Portland did the opposite. They didn't look at 8 points per game, they looked at the flashes.
Working on Dinwiddie, puts a body into him, score the bucket, he's fouled in the act, Deni Avdija.
The grab-and-go transition possessions, the pick-and-roll reads, the passing windows only high-level playmakers see. They made a simple decision. What if this isn't a limited role player? What if this is actually the primary? And we are the ones behind schedule. So they tested it. Gave him the ball, let him fail, let him learn. Let him play through mistakes Washington would have benched him for. And that's the real twist. Deni Avdija didn't just improve, he was finally put in an environment that allowed his actual skill set to exist. His leap is not just about mechanics and confidence, it's about context. It proves something uncomfortable. A lot of so-called flops around the league might not be flops at all. They might be primary engines trapped in spot-up roles. They might be playmakers hiding in the corner, one role change away from turning into something completely different. Deni is the proof, the hidden truths behind the numbers.
Able to draw a foul. Avdija drives it, and he scores, and one!
On paper, you see 26 points. heavy drives, tons of free throws. But there are layers underneath that make his transformation even more impressive. First, the drive volume. 19 plus drives a night is ridiculous. He's not doing that as a bailout, he's doing it as plan A. He's not probing then kicking every time. He's going there to score or get fouled. He has basically traded 3-point volume for rim pressure, and the math still works because of his efficiency at the basket and the free throws he generates. Second, the defense drop-off. If you just stare at defensive rating, you might see something like worst on the team, high 110s to 120s, and you could jump straight to he stopped defending. But that's lazy. He's carrying a massive offensive load on a roster that doesn't exactly have tons of other self-creators. Every possession he's running pick and roll, absorbing contact, attacking, going to the line. There's a cost to that. Young stars almost always have to ration energy somewhere. For Deni right now, that means sacrificing some defensive intensity. It's not a regression, it is a trade-off. And as Portland adds more creation around him, you'd expect that defensive engagement to climb again. Third, that left hand. This used to be the fix this or get exposed part of his scouting report. Now, you can't force him one way. He's comfortable driving left, spinning back, finishing through contact, and taking hits with either shoulder.
Here, just didn't make the catch. Simon's the other way ahead to Avdija, to the glass, laid it in, he just volleyed.
When you combine that with his size at 6'9" and his improved jumper, the scouting report turns from let him shoot and shade him right into pray he misses. The milestone that changed the country. All of this would already be a huge story. But then he added something that goes way beyond NBA Twitter. On December 6, 2025 against Detroit, he dropped 35 and passed Omri Caspi to become the all-time leading Israeli scorer in NBA history. Caspi finished with 4,642 points over his career. Deni blew past that total years earlier than anyone projected. He did not sneak by it with a quiet 14-point night. He smashed it with a star performance in a featured role. For Israeli basketball fans, this is not just a record. It is a torch passing. For years, Caspi was the reference point. Now, kids will grow up saying Deni first. And he's nowhere near done. What comes next? So where does this go from here? You have a 6'9" point forward averaging over 26 a night, leading the league in drives, getting to the line almost 10 times a game, sitting on a team-friendly contract, carrying a franchise, carrying a country. All after starting his career as a hesitant corner-standing role player. His story says a lot about him. It might say even more about the league. Because every time you see a young player parked in the corner, freezing up after one mistake, you're gonna think of this. You're gonna ask, is he actually a role player or is he one trade away from hitting turbo? Deni Avdija answered that question for himself. Washington gave him a label. Portland gave him the ball. And now everyone else has to adjust.